Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay.
And I am John Epstein. Glad to be with you again this week.
Absolutely. This week we are talking about the ABCs of wealth. This is week 9 of our series. Today is about all things I,
I,
right?
yeah.
So, hey, listen, if you know of a friend that could benefit from this information, share it, like it, get a pen and paper, get ready to take notes. We'll get started in just a moment.
Yeah.
Good evening, good evening. Once again, welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay. That's the baby. I think she's heard this so much, right? The intro music.
Yep.
So she like dances when it comes on. She like over on the side, just dancing to the music. But hey, welcome you all. My name is Majida Bay, your financial conductor. I help parents and professionals get on the right financial track and become someone both their parents and children can be proud of. Joined as always by my host, my friend, my mentor, Mr.
Thank
John
you.
Epstein Jr., senior
Yes.
financial broker, father, husband, man of faith.
Yes.
Welcome, John. How are you doing today?
Doing okay. I've been dealing with some back issues from my time in the military and things, but I'm okay, man. I'm happy to be here. Didn't want to miss this show. So took the dog for a quick walk. That sounds so weird coming out of my mouth. Took the dog for a quick
You
walk.
got that, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a quick walk. The guy wanted to roll around in the grass for a while, so we were out there. Did half an hour, almost 40 minutes, but it was fun. Let him out the house. Let him get to stretch his legs a little bit before Mama comes home, and yeah. But I'm doing okay. Been an eventful day. Got to hang out with a buddy of mine. Actually, might as well say one of my closest friends. We've been rolling for 20 years. 20
Oh,
years.
wow.
Yeah. So he swung by the house as I was coming back from my chiropractic appointment, and we got to hang out a little bit. But yeah, having a good day. How about you? How's your week been thus far? And I'm talking about
It's
week
Yeah,
progression.
yeah. The last week, it's been a lot, right? So I'm actually going on vacation
Okay.
tomorrow,
Okay.
and
Cool.
so I took a mini vacation, I guess, this past week, and I actually took my daughters up to the beach and
Okay.
spent a few hours there on Sunday.
Okay.
So they really enjoyed themselves. I think my 3-year-old thinks she's a fish. Uh, and that she can fight the water, the waves.
Mm.
They knock her down, she'd get right back up. Like, come on, mommy, let's go.
I
Sit
can
down
relate.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good weekend. Spent some time Saturday. Met up with a good friend of mine Saturday and Sunday. Got to meet a couple friends of mine, and really
Yeah.
just looking forward to just making measurable progress in reasonable time, as Jim
I
Rohn likes
love
to
that.
say.
I love
So
that. And
yeah.
everybody that's tuning in knew you were going to bring up Jim Rome at some time. This was just kind of early in the show, so
Right. It's a little early, right?
that's all right.
If you
But
don't
you
know
know
now,
what?
you know.
I would want you to say it again because I bet you a lot of people didn't catch it. I've heard it hundreds of times, but say it again.
Yes, making
Ma-
measurable progress in reasonable time.
Beautiful.
I think that's how he defines success: making
Yeah,
measurable progress in reasonable time.
that's how you know you're succeeding if you're actually progressing. So
Absolutely.
very good. But I love the measurable, and I definitely love reasonable time because sometimes we put way too much pressure on ourselves. We want to be, $100 million man in a year and a half, and it's just not. I mean, not that that can't happen. I was recently paying attention to a young kid on TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok. I haven't even downloaded the app. But young man went from 0 to 2.2 million in income in 18
Mm,
months. I mean, 36, no, over 100 million followers,
mm,
right? That's crazy. That's 100 million followers on TikTok.
yeah.
I don't even remember how many And I might be getting it wrong. It might be even more. Right? I don't even know how many on Instagram, but that's a lot. But so it's possible. I said that to say it's possible, but measurable progress in a reasonable time, right? You that way you won't fall in depression.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think the key to that really is being, as I've heard so many times from ET, is being faithful over
yeah,
few, right?
yeah.
You know, really embracing the process. Like, stop focusing on the results, stop focusing on the destination,
Mm-hmm.
embrace the daily routine, the daily habits. What you say all the time, what you do daily determines who you become permanently.
Mm-hmm.
And so just been focusing on like daily doing the things that's helping me to move forward, right? Focusing on one task at a time, getting it knocked out, and then moving to the next thing. But
Yeah,
also having some accountability, right? Like,
yeah.
I pay somebody to make sure I'm staying on track, because I realize that I tend to be, um, do more for others than I'll do for myself.
I'm glad you
And
said it. I'm glad you said it. Okay.
I know that about myself, so it's like it's
Okay.
worth it to have to answer to somebody else about my goals and dreams. Like, this is what I want to do, but if you don't tell nobody and
Yeah.
have somebody hold you accountable, and somebody outside of my inner circle, right?
Right. Yeah.
So having
Somebody who
that
has
third
nothing
party.
to gain or lose if you hit it or not. Uh, so that's really good, right?
Yeah,
So many people miss that part. Actually, that probably sound weird to a bunch of people who may listen to this, right? Having somebody that you are accountable to. But I've always said that. I've always said if you're following a leader and you don't know their leader or you don't know who they're following, you probably should run. You probably don't know. And I know
that's
you've
good.
met leaders in my life. Our friend Keith has met, one of the key leaders in my life. So, because I keep them around. Plus, I talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
So, I talk about my leaders all the time. I'm always lifting them up. Um, but I couldn't be who I am without them if they didn't check me, if you will. So,
No, absolutely. That's good. That's good. Well, hey, let's go ahead and get into this topic. We won't delay any longer. It is week 9 of our ABCs of Wealth series. And this week we're talking about income, interest, and investments. All
yeah,
right. So we're going to start with income, right? I asked the question in the description for this show. Um, do you know what your most valuable financial asset is, right? Why income is your most valuable financial asset.
yeah.
And so, can you speak to the people, John, today, and just share with them why is income such an important part of building wealth?
Yeah, if there's nothing coming in, what are you building with? You need raw materials. And Dave Ramsey, just about any financial person in our world, they understand. Now, don't get me wrong, credit can be important too, and cash, of course, is important. But think about it: do you have any of that without an income, without something coming in? Kind of hard to build if you don't have any wood, So, and I believe one of your most powerful wealth building tools is your income, because that income can be allocated, done thing, interest can be built with it, right? And it can be invested and things like that. And then after a while, the investments, the interest is the income. Yeah. So sometimes you got to ask yourself, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And if you don't know that, the chicken comes first. God created the chicken. Okay. Just in case you didn't know. God created the chicken. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And that's cute. That's really huge, because oftentimes people think, oh, I don't make enough money, or, I came from the wrong side of the tracks, or there's always a challenge or an obstacle as to why they are not able to build wealth.
Right.
But we say often, it's not about what you make, but how much you get to keep.
Yeah.
And too often we don't keep enough of what we make, so we don't figure we have enough.
Absolutely. Well,
And
actually, it's not just how much we get to keep, but what we do with what we make. Right. So what
absolutely,
we do with what we make, and then how much of that we get to keep, all of that plays a part in what are we doing now, what's happening now. And in my financial business, I've been at it 20 years plus now. I've seen people who made very meager incomes make things happen. They created things because of their income, even though that income was not very impressive. Some of them earned. There's a stat that more than 50% of hardworking Americans earn less than $30,000 a year. I'm talking about that group, and of course now, fast forward some years, that's not the case anymore. Some of them are living off of interest that's over 30,000. So it's all about what you do with it, and that's why interest and investments are important.
Absolutely. And I just want to bring like a quick example of how my income
Yeah,
from being a broke college student to starting a career
yeah,
was significantly different, but my outcome was unfortunately relatively the same, right?
yeah,
Like I was still living paycheck to paycheck. I was
yeah,
still just barely making ends meet.
yeah.
And so we often see that as our income increases, we also increase our expenses. And so, can you speak to the importance of living below your means, right? You may
Yeah.
have a certain amount coming in, but it doesn't mean spend every dollar that you make.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're not the government. Only the government can get away with that. You should only be spending less than what comes in, really. But some people, believe it or not, spend more than what's coming in. And some will say, how you do that? Well, through debt, right? If you go buy on credit and you don't pay it off every month, you're actually spending more than you make, right? And it's funny how our credit world works too. They will allow you to take out and use money on some with something as collateral that's not guaranteed. Isn't that funny? Right? They'll loan you. You can get a mortgage, right? And they loan you the mortgage based on your job and how much money you make and those types of things. Your credit worthiness, right? But you could lose your job right after closing on the house, right? Yet you're secured into this loan for 30 years or 15 years or whatever it is. All right. So super important that you live below your means. And by living below your means, now you have something to earn interest on. Like if you spend it all, none of that's going to earn interest. Right. Like my wife and I, this is years ago, but we didn't have a savings account. We had a put and take account. All right. We put it in, we took it out, we put it in, like everything was an emergency.
Mm.
It was just bad. But we had a bad financial blueprint, right, from our upbringing, where we came from, right, and then also watching our parents. So once we clean that up, and I'll be honest, I think we're still cleaning it up. I'm not going to act like we got it all together. I think we're still cleaning it up because it's a mindset. You can fall back into old mindsets, especially through fear,
Mm.
right?
That's good.
That one happens to my wife more than me, but yeah, it happens through fear, happens through what if. It happens from not wanting to go back to where you came from. Right? It's okay to remember it, but you don't want to go back there. So
No, I agree with that.
yeah, so those are the things I teach, and I believe if you make I'm gonna use a number 2,500 a month, right? You should definitely be saving at least, I would say, 20% of that for yourself, and it should be earning interest in some way, right? I should believe you should be living off of 70%, right? I believe you should give some away, and then you should be saving that other 20. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right, so let's shift over to interest, right? You've touched on that a little bit already,
Yeah.
but once you have the income, once you start to save some of it or put it somewhere where it can earn interest for you,
Mhm.
speak to the importance of knowing how much interest you earn. Why is that important?
Well, you always want your money, all right, when it comes to interest, to outpace inflation. Inflation is the buying power of your dollar. It's the silent enemy of your money. You don't even realize it's happening, right? And it's some people who keep money in a safe or in a mattress or in the walls of their house. And these are not actual. This is not a myth. I've actually known this. I've seen this. I've actually had a client one time that her grandmother had passed away. Excuse me, it might have been her great grandmother. Don't quote me on this part. But they were getting ready to sell the house. So the grandmother passed away some months back. Probate had already been handled, all of those things, and then they were going to sell the house. But grandma had these old heavy curtains in the house, The type that they were huge, right? Super heavy. Even a guy like me, we wouldn't like to carry them. They're the type that had a rod through the top and the bottom, right? Well, apparently the great grandmother had been rolling up money, removed the rod from the bottom, and was putting money in it. So cash into this hole, right? Rolling it up, putting it into the curtain. Now, mind you, they were going to sell the house with the curtains. In their mind, no value. Why would we want that, right? But one relative, a cousin, I can't even remember, right? Somebody wanted these curtains, right? For sentimental reasons or something. Their mom made them for great grandma or something. I don't know, right? They found $87,000 in these curtains. $87,000.
Wow.
So they almost sold the house with the curtains. And the average contractor would have just pulled the curtains down, threw them in a dumpster, and right, 87 grand. All because this girl wanted the curtains, right? And hey, that girl almost got away with her 87 grand. she didn't, but she all because she wanted those curtains.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man.
so it's people who do stuff like that, right? Well, think about it. It wasn't earning any interest in the curtains. So it was going backwards. When grandma was putting it in there, right? 87,000 was like 100. But by the time they took the 87,000 out, it doesn't have the same value anymore because the price of stuff goes up. I filled up my car today, right? The price of gas is going up. It's coming. All right, it's not that bad right now. Where we live, we should never complain about gas prices. Although we do, because I got friends paying over $4 a gallon in other parts of the country. But I filled up. It was under $3. It was under $3 a gallon. The buying power of your dollar. That's why interest is so important. Your money has to outpace inflation. Rich people know how to get money to work for them. Actually, the only difference between rich people and everybody else is the way they think. It's not really money. It's just the way they think. They think differently. They anticipate, right? So they plan ahead for the bad stuff that's coming. They take calculated risk, right? They don't just jump into stuff. They take calculated risk, and they believe in making sure their money is making money. And that's just a few.
That's good. That's good. So I know there's a rule that we teach, to our clients, and we share in different. So can you tell people what's the rule of 72? All right, for those who may not know what it is and how that teaches us about interest.
Yeah, well, no problem. It's funny. I learned this. I was an accountant for the military, for the United States Navy, and so I was, an auditor and doing all kind of stuff. And I learned the rule of 72, which is the mathematical equation for compound interest. So if you're wondering what it is, you can Google it. You can look it up. I looked it up way back in the year 2000. That's when I learned it. And Google didn't even exist yet. So more than 2 million hits came up on MSN and Netscape. Some of you guys aren't old enough to remember what Netscape is, but but that's how I learned it. That's how I solidified what I learned. Somebody taught it to me. But all it is the mathematical equation for compound interest. The mathematical equation for compound interest. Actually, Albert Einstein said those who learn it or those who understand it will earn it, and those who don't will pay it. Yeah, so it has to do with interest, right? The people that don't understand it, they're in a lot of debt, right? They're paying interest on stuff, that type of thing. The people who understand it, they pay more attention to what their money's earning. So it's super important. And all it is it's a simple equation. Take 72 and divide it by your interest rate. So whatever interest rate your money's earning, right? If it's earning 1%, 2, 12, 36, whatever, right? So if you're doing some really cool stuff in the market right now, right? You might be earning well over 12, 20%, right? Divide that number into 72. Now, mind you, that stuff doesn't happen. It doesn't stay constant, but I'm just helping you get the gist of it. So take 72, divided by whatever your rate of return, divide that into 72. And what that equals is the number of years it takes for your money to double sitting in an account that earns that interest, right? So if it's earning 1%, 1 goes into 72, 72 times. If it's earning 4%, 4 goes into 72, 18 times. All right, so forth and so on. If it's earning 12%, 12 going to 72 6 times, so forth and so on. So I'm sure you got it by now. You don't need me for any more. But once I learned that, it was a game changer. It was a game changer because it helped me start paying attention to what my money was doing. Not what I was doing, what my money was doing. What I was doing was important too, because if I didn't put it anywhere where it could earn some interest, then Rule of 72 actually, it was working against me because I had debt. Right, still had credit cards. I still had a car loan at that time. Right, this is a long time ago. So, and yeah, this is a long time ago. So, and matter of fact, back then I think my car loan was like 7%. Right, so reverse engineer it. It gets really bad. So, but hopefully you got something out of that. That it was a game changer for me, and normally it's a game changer for my clients when the light bulb goes off. I know Majita's had numerous people, right? And it's not just about learning the concept. I notice a lot of people, a few people, when they come to me, they've already heard of it, but they didn't understand it. And if you learn something, you don't understand it, you don't apply it, it wasn't worth learning it.
Right.
Yeah. So I explain it in a certain way, right? I have a big whiteboard in my office. So when I explain it, I literally write it out and we like give some examples. So
yeah,
which becomes very fun.
No, that's good. I know that was definitely pivotal for me when I first learned the Rule of 72. I think my immediate response was, I need you to show this to my parents. Right? Because I knew that if I didn't know, they didn't know, right? Because they would have taught me. And it's such an important concept. It's something that we can learn in probably elementary school. Like, it's not even long division. Like, it's simple division.
Very simple.
Unfortunately, we're not educated about it early enough. And so we get out in the world, we get into debt and figure it out by trial and error that we don't understand money. So I'm learning concepts like this to understand how money works, how interest works, and being aware and conscious of where you put your money is crucial in order to build wealth. So thanks for sharing that. And so last but not least, let's shift into investments. All right. Yeah. I know whenever people think about building wealth, they think, oh, I got to invest, right? I need to invest. But they don't know like what to invest in. And so I know it's not a cookie cutter solution for everybody, but let's just speak a little bit about the importance of the type of investment and understanding the different places that you can put your money to get it to work better for you.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I pay attention when it comes to investing. Right, with that word, we got to pay attention to what type of investor can you be based on your risk tolerance. So it's a lot of things to invest in. I mean, gosh, there's so many things at this point, right? You got CBD that's really taken off, and marijuana and cannabis and all those types of things. You got, of course, technology and crypto and foreign exchange, and I mean, it's just so many different things. You got to figure out what's important to you. And then I always like to when I set up a plan for my families, what's the purpose of this money? Right? What are we doing? Is it short term? Is it midterm? Is it long term? In a perfect world, what would you want it to look like? Are we pulling out a lump sum? Are we just taking off interest every year? Or, what are we doing? Are you okay with the risk? Can you stomach it? All right, my wife was very good at teaching that stuff with our clients. Are you okay, right? If the market goes down in whatever you're doing, sometimes people see the market go down and they automatically think their accounts went down. That's not necessarily true. So you got to pay attention to what you have. But yeah, those types of things. And there's variable accounts, right? So those are anything that has some risk to it. Really is a variable account, right? So mutual funds and exchange traded funds and index funds and all those types of things. And so it's a lot of different stuff. Of course, stock, crypto, big time. All right. Everybody wants to be in crypto, but some of them can't stomach the risk. It bothers you. Right. And if it steals your peace, it's probably something you probably shouldn't be in. And then there's index accounts. Now, index accounts are a little bit different than an index fund, right? Because somebody's actually guaranteeing you something on the back end of it. So market goes up, you get to capture some of those gains. You get to participate. Let me say it the right way. You get to participate in the game. But when the market goes down, you never have to worry about losing. So it's a lot of different investments. I always believe you should have some money in a little bit of all of it, right? Of course, start with a foundation, get some money saved up, get in a good emergency fund, right? Start dabbling in some index accounts that can give some guarantees, and then once you have that solid, yeah, why not play a little bit and see how much you can really earn? But because you did it the right way, you're not stressed out when things go north. Go south for. And a lot of times it just goes south for a few months or a few weeks, or actually sometimes days or hours, right? You can't be freaking out about stuff like that.
No, I think that's a key point, right? That you got to understand and know your risk tolerance. Because even though we work in the financial industry, there are some of us. I know I am one. I'm I'm moderately conservative in terms of investing. Right? I don't like to lose money, so I don't take as much risk. But as you said, when you have certain things in place, the emergency fund, you have some index accounts, some guarantees on your money, it's okay with taking some risk, right? So I take some risk, but I'm not gambling my grocery money or,
right. Rent, right? 3 months from now, rent. Not good.
So understanding that there's not a get rich quick scheme, so to speak, in terms of building wealth. It has to be built over time. I shared this a couple weeks ago, the idea that a career, just like with your wealth, a career has to be built. So have that mindset, have long-term thinking when you're looking at investing. You think about people who have when you hear old money, or you hear names like Rockefeller, Kennedy, and Ford, they have a legacy, but it's generation after generation because they did some fundamental things consistently over time. And they might have taken advantage of an upswing here and there, but certain practical principles are maintained.
He's taking over.
Yeah. I'm just like watching to make sure she doesn't like fall off of something or.
No, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, but this has been a good talk. I think people can get a better picture of things, and it's a lot of stuff out there. But believe it or not, there's a lot of stuff people just don't know. They don't even know certain things exist. So it's shocking to me. Here we are in 2021, and I literally sit down with clients that have never heard of certain things. And some of them are investors, right? Some of them are, I don't know what you would call them, day traders or whatever, right? Crypto traders or whatever you call them. But yeah, you'd be shocked how many of them still haven't heard of a lot of stuff that's out there. But, that's why guys like me and you, exist. Guys and gals like you and me. That's why we exist, because we get to see all those different things, and luckily we're not tied to something. So, yeah.
No, I love that. The information I was able to learn from you over a decade ago now, it's really a privilege that I get to share that with other people. And, sometimes people just reach out, or, somebody I might have reached out to in the past will reach back out and say, hey, are you still doing? Yeah. I still got my licenses. I'm still doing it. And it feels good to be able to, right? I guess muscle memory at this point, where you could just sit down with a person and share certain concepts and principles and help them, like you said, turn the light bulb on and better understand these principles so that they can make more informed decisions. Because wouldn't you agree that most people like they want to do better financially? They don't always know, right? As you say, what questions to ask, where to start, and who to trust. Right. And so I love that we have this platform to be able to share information and provide some insight into ways that people can improve their wealth.
Absolutely. It's a privilege. Yeah. And the reason I believe that is because that's who I was. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what questions to ask even when I started. I didn't know who I could trust. Right. So having somebody in your corner, like I have a lot of people just call me and text me and just throw questions. Right. They're thinking about something, and worst case scenario, I'm another ear, right, or throw another perspective to them, right, and it's actually fun. And what's really cool is how much people appreciate that.
Yeah.
And some of these people aren't close at all. They just met me somewhere. They met me at a speaking engagement. They just shoot me a text, and you'd be shocked how many people send me a gift, and just send me. Sometime it was actually one not too long ago, a few months ago. I didn't even know how they got my address. Like, how did you even get my office address? But then I just figured they must have, Googled or something.
Google stalked you. Yeah.
Came across my website or something. But it was cool. It was really cool. I ain't gonna turn down a $50 gift card to some restaurant or thank you. And all I did was answer a question. Right? Or strategize, like kind of, actually I don't really answer questions. I ask questions. As you know, that's kind of my way of teaching. It's just I ask you questions and help you kind of rationalize it and come to it on your own. Unless it's something pointed about a particular product or something. Yeah, that's all I did. And then I get a gift card. $50. Right?
No. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It doesn't sound like you're broke. But no, I think that's good, John. Just to that point, the idea that I think what people appreciate most is that it doesn't cost them anything, right? Oftentimes, a lot of people out here, you got to charge to get questions. They charge to get questions, to answer questions for other people. And, to have that.
I guess I could do that. But it just doesn't set with me. Yeah. Maybe at some point. But I just don't see it. I don't see me charging for that. Yeah.
So when and I agree with you on that. It didn't cost me anything to get the information, so who am I to charge for it? So I see it, like you said, as a privilege that somebody was willing to help me. That person was you, and then I get to help other people get on a better track, move in a different direction. And so
we're similar in that way. Somebody helped me, and they didn't charge me. So yeah, don't get me wrong. A speaking engagement, I got to speak to 1,000, right? Something like that. Some conference you're putting on. Okay, now I need to be taken care of, but just some person. My wife and I did some things for a nonprofit organization, some financial courses for a nonprofit organization a couple weeks ago, I guess. And yeah, I literally gave out my cell phone number at the end of those talks. And some people are like, man, why would you give out your cell phone number? Are you crazy? Right? And here's the facts. Most of them aren't going to call. That's the sad part. Most of them aren't going to call. So I've come to the realization that I can tell you all the right stuff to do. Most people aren't going to do it. I can tell you all the secrets to success, but most of you ain't going to do it. Right? So it didn't scare me. I give a disclaimer that, hey, I'm a father and husband first, and don't expect me to just be picking up the phone for you. Right? Call me if I don't answer. Shoot a text. But I had, don't get me wrong. I have a few who've text, really just to say hi. They didn't even have a question yet, but it was like they wanted themselves plugged into my phone, I guess. And of course, thank my wife and I for the speaking engagement. But yeah, most people don't call. Most people don't reach out. And then they look up 5 years later and they're still in the same place or worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if you don't want to be in the same place 5 years from now, 10 years from now, definitely reach out. John and I, you can reach us on our Calendly, scrolling across the ticker there at the bottom. Schedule a complimentary consultation. As we said, there's no charge to sit down and assess, right? Like John likes to say, take a financial x-ray, see where you are, right? And once you know where you are, we'll be able to help you figure out where it is you want to go. You strategize as to some things that you could tweak or do differently to get or improve your financial situation. So if that's of interest to you, definitely reach out to us. Any final words, John, on our week 9 topic?
No, this was a great week, and I'm glad we were able to hit it. Hopefully people understand what inflation is now and just how important your income is. Don't look at it as a small thing. You know, your income can lead to all these other and cherish it. Don't of course don't make it an idol.
Yeah.
But, hey, do the right things with it. All right, be a good steward of it. So, and then bless other people in the process. I think the whole purpose of getting to wealth is so you can give back and help other people. All right, and believe it or not, you can do that on your way to getting there. So,
very true.
Pleasure being with you guys tonight. Always great talking with you, Majida.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate y'all hanging with us today. And hey, if you got some value out of it, share it, like it, send it to a friend. And we'll be back here next week for week 10, right? We got 20. Quite a few. I can't do the math. I think like 16 more weeks. 17 more weeks to finish out the year. So we'll be rocking with you all each week, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a great week.
Have a great weekend.